Hey folks, Martin here, and I hope I'm going live already. I don't know, I'm not sure. I think, okay, now I've got a red sign saying that I am live in the Solo Board Gamers group. It is 5:47 p.m. Here in Northern California. Kind of an overcast day, and I am here because I am going to do a little bit of solo playthrough of the game Colony. Which you see on your screen right now. Of course, this is the rules. And try to figure it out. And I've got 6 people on the stream right now. Hello, say hello. I can't, because of the way this live interface is set up, I can't see who you are. I can only see that you are here. So that's great. That's awesome. Thanks for joining me. But if you wanted me to know who you are and you want to interact, you're going to have to type a comment in the comments field, and I will try to open up a new Facebook window and try to monitor what who's saying what. Type a comment in the comments field. I don't need that. We've got 9 people on the stream. Carl Hutchings has joined. Hi Carl, thanks for dropping by. However long you feel like staying. All right, so I know I have audio, I know I have video, and we've got the game mostly set up on the table right now. So I'll give you a quick tour of what the components are that you see here. So Colony is a 1 to 4 player tableau builder, engine builder, dice placement game. Every turn there's a lot of rolling of dice. And then based on those values, that basically tells you what you're going to be able to do. So these are the dice that are the solid white dice are called stable resources. So the dice represent resources in this game. The kind of translucent dice that you see here are what's called unstable resources. So the difference between these two that I've been able to figure out and refresh myself so far is stable resource dice persist from turn to turn, whereas unstable resources, the translucent ones, you can't hang on to them. They go back to the supply at the end of your turn. And then you've got these tokens called chippies, which kind of has a funny name in the rules. The chippy stands for Cybernetic Holder of Instant Production Improvement. That's awesome. And basically, if you have one of these, you can turn it in to the supply, and that gets you an unstable die that you can roll. So the reason why it's unstable is because you don't know what result you're going to end up with. So that's kind of how that works. So told you what those things are. This is a score track over here, and in the solo mode I just keep track of my own score, so I'll have one token there, one scoring kind of marker there. And then now let me explain to you what the cards are. So the cards along the top here, I hope you can see, the GMO farm, the protein lab, the fabric replicator, the fiber mill, the uranium mine, and the fallout shelter. These are apparently what's called the standard cards. So, So in the rules it says place all the basic cards. The GMO farm protein below the scoreboard with their basic white side face up. The numbers of cards in these stacks is always the same. Okay, so those are the basic cards across the top there. And then the ones arrayed on the bottom here, underneath the basic cards, these are the variable cards. One of the things about this game is that the naming conventions aren't super thematic. They're more utilitarian, basic, and variable. Couldn't we have come up with better names for these things? More connected to the theme. Anyway, so you've got the variable cards, and the reason why they're called variable cards is that you get to choose them. They're different every time. They're different every game. And there's a set of variable cards that are recommended for your first time game that's printed in the rulebook, which I didn't go with. And what's actually cool about this is that on page 7 of the rulebook, there are suggestions for sets of variable cards that you can choose. So there's one for non-confrontational. If you don't like other players messing with your cards and resources, we suggest using these variable cards. So they show you which 7 stacks of variable cards are set out for a non-confrontational style of game, which kind of appeals to me. I'm super non-confrontational in my gameplay. On the other end of the spectrum, they have a setup for all-out conflict. So if you really want a lot of player interaction, there's a setup for that as well. And then the one that I actually chose is one called Mass Production, which sounded appealing to me. For a production and point-heavy game, we suggest using these variable cards. So that's the setup that I ended up going with. The Experimental Generator, Scrap Shack, Black Market, Tweaker, Reactivator, the Time Lock Vault, and the Stockpile. So those are the cards that I chose. All right. Just want to check here if anybody is actually sending me any chats in the chat or just saying hi. 15 people on the stream, which is awesome. Let me also check on my phone if anybody is trying to send me a message or a chat or a comment. Because I have been burned by this, like Facebook Live before, where people were trying to comment and I didn't know. I wasn't aware that folks were actually doing that. Okay. Apparently, I can't see it on my phone. Let's try searching. Yes, I see that. All right. Okay, I've got it on my phone as well. So far, no one has dropped me a comment, which is fine. Okay, and then the last thing that I need to explain is every player starts of the game with 4, let's see, those are the basic cards, those are the variable cards. So the 4 starting cards, okay, consisting of the warehouse, where you get to store dice in between turns. There's 6 spots for dice here. There's the supply exchange, which allows you to take equals or pairs. Hi, Jeremy Howard. Commenting. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by. Very nice to have you here. Hello, hello from Northern California. And so, yeah, supply exchange is where you can take pairs and then two dice of the same result, and then you can trade those in for a die of any result you want, I think, or you have to roll it. The construction is the card that allows you to construct buildings. So the idea here is you're going to roll dice, and then printed at the tops of these cards in the market are the requirements to be able to purchase that card, that building, and place it into your city or your tableau, right? And then once it's there, then it becomes another card whose benefit you can activate or potentially activate on your turn. So that's the basic thing here. I've read this game described as kind of like Dominion in dice form, or a dice version of Dominion. Doesn't mean that much to me because I haven't yet played Dominion. Yes, I know. It's horrible. How can I have not played Dominion? Somebody who loves deck building games. So anyway, got the warehouse, the supply exchange, the construction card, and the upgrade. And the costs for being able to activate your cards are printed on the bottom. The costs for being able to purchase these cards are printed on the top. So that's kind of cool. And then the last thing that I'll explain about card anatomy is victory points. So one cool thing, Jeremy says, this game is a low-key good solo game. I lost mine to water damage. I'm sorry to hear that, but I am encouraged to hear you say that it is a good solo game. I'm very much looking forward to that. As I said in an earlier post, I tried it 2 years ago when I wasn't yet like a hardcore solo gamer, and I didn't really click for me. But I want to give it another chance because I am a very different gamer now. I'm a very different person, very different gamer, and I'm as you know mostly solo. So let's see. I'm going to give this game another chance. I like the designer, Ted Alspach. Okay, so enough explanation about the game components and setup. Let's just start playing, right? So Gameplay. On a turn, the active player will do the following phases in order. 1. Prepare. 2. Scavenge. 3. Activate. And 4. Cleanup. And you have a handy-dandy turn reference card that, summarizes those things. And on the back, it summarizes all the symbols that you might see in the game, which this game isn't really that symbol-heavy, and they're pretty self-explanatory, I want to say. Show me all the comments. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. So this is nice. Christoph joined. Hi, Christoph. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the live stream. Nice to see you. I am saying hello and from Northern California. It is nearly 6 o'clock in the evening here in Northern California. Okay, so, well, actually, even before we start playing, there's a piece of setup that I haven't done yet. According to the game setup, number 6, everyone will take 3 stable white resources, roll them, and place all 3 in their warehouse. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Ooh, Ben just joined. Hi, Ben. Welcome to the stream. So I've got my 3 stable resources here. And I also have a dog that's scratching at the door wanting to get out. So I'm going to get up, let the dog out, and then like 2 minutes later it's going to be scratching wanting to get let back in. Such is my life. And maybe I should just leave the door open. But if I leave the door open, then ambient noises from the outside of the office will get onto the stream and yada, yada, yada. Okay, so piece of setup. We need to roll these stable resources, the solid white dice. And then whatever the results, we'll place them in the warehouse. So we've got, 6 and a 6. Doubles are always nice. And a 2. Which we'll place in our warehouse. All right, so I think that's all the setup I need to do. Yep. Place 7 stacks of any combination of the variable cards. Done that already, so we're totally good with setup. Christoph says, wish I could stay, but it's 3 a.m. here now, and I need to work from 8 a.m. onwards. Work. Who needs to work, Christoph? Psh, earn income for goods and services? That's so 2019. It's 2020 now. We're post work. I don't need to do that. All right. So I'm just kidding, buddy. I'm glad you stopped by for however long you could stay. Okay. So we're done with all the setup. We've rolled our stable resources. So now going on to the first phase of the first turn. Oh, I haven't explained the solo game yet. So there is a section here in the rules on page 4 at the bottom for the single-player game. So I think, from what I've read of the rules, this is pretty much all they're going to give you in terms of, hey, and by the way, if you want to play one player, this is how you modify the game. It's not much, really. So single-player game is challenge yourself to get the best score possible. Yeah, it's a beat your own score. Use the standard cards and 7 stacks of variable cards of your choice, which I've got. Place all 30 stable resources and 12 unstable resources in the supply. Each turn, roll 3 stable resources. Keep 1 and place the other 2 back in the box, out of play for the rest of the game. So the main change with the solo game is the number of stable resources now acts as a game timer. Because every turn you're going to roll your 3, and then you're basically going to choose 1 that you want, and then the other 2 that you didn't choose go back in the box. So you can see that there is a limited number of turns, after which time you will no longer have enough dice to be able to roll your 3. Right? It says continue playing until you can't roll 3 stable resources from the supply at the beginning of a turn. You may choose to discard stable resources from your warehouse so that you have enough of those resources to roll. So the warehouse is still active in the solo game. You can still use that. But basically, once you can no longer roll 3 stable or white dice at the start of a turn. That's the end of the turn. And at that point, you count up how many victory points you have managed to acquire over the course of the game. So you're not playing against an AI opponent in the official solo, published solo version of the game. You're basically trying to earn as many victory points as possible. Larry Wolf joined. Hi, Larry. Welcome to the stream. So yeah, so that is the solo game. That's the solo variant of Colony. So let's start playing it and see how it works out. See how we like it. Okay. So first of all is the preparation phase. The active player will place all dice from his warehouse into his play area. Okay, we can do that. We've got these dice from my warehouse go into my play area. Cool, I've got pairs and a 2. And then Scavenge Phase, the active player will pick up 3 stable resources from the supply and then roll them. He chooses one of those resources and places it in his play area, keeping the value shown on top, and the player... So in the multiplayer game, there's like dice drafting based on the roll, almost like a roll and write game. But in the solo game, you choose one, and then the other 2 you didn't choose, they go out of the game. So let's do that right now. We're taking 3 stable dice. We are rolling them. And then we've got a 5, a 1, and a 4. So what can we do with this? We've already got a pair for supply exchange here. We don't have up for upgrade. We don't have construction. So what do we have? What can we buy already? Let's see. I've got a 2. I've got a pair of 6s. I can get a fiber mill. And that fiber mill will generate me a 5 each round. So that's kind of cool. I could keep that 5 and use a 2 over here to get a fabric replicator. So the basic cards, all they do is generate particular unstable die roll results every turn. That's what the basic cards do. And then the advanced, or like the variable cards, they have other effects. So for example, the Scrap Shack gives me a 5 when built, and then gives me a 5 stable when built, and then a 1 unstable when I activate it. So that's pretty interesting. So at this point, the choice is, what can I do? What can I buy? What do I want to buy? Well, I do want to be able to upgrade. So an upgrade will require a kind of a straight 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've got a 2. There's a 1 over there. Yeah. I'm already suffering from analysis paralysis. This is bad. Okay. The player may activate any number of cards. Oh my gosh, there's a dog scratching to get in. And by the way, if you could see a possibility for me to do that I'm not taking advantage of, which is probably very likely, feel free to drop a comment and let me know what you think I should be doing. Let's make this a little bit interactive. Okay. So we want to score points. So therefore, we want to buy cards. So, well, I can't get the GMO farm. I don't have enough for that. 3 4s. Okay, so fiber mill we can't buy. Uranium mine we can't buy. Is there anything we can buy with a pair of 6s? This fallout shelter would require a 6 and then just 4 of the same result. So all this stuff's pretty expensive. But fiber mill is probably my best bet right now because it requires a pair of 6s and 2 2s. Yeah, that sucks. Okay. So I think, I don't have a plan yet. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, I'm going to take the 4. And which means these other two, this 5 and this 1, which I didn't choose, has to leave the game and go into the box. All right, so I've made a decision. Was it the right decision? I have no idea. So this is what I've got. This is what I'm working with here. So I've done the Scavenge Phase, which is take 3 stable dice from the supply. If I had chibis, I could turn in up to 3 for up to 3 unstable. Roll 3 and keep... Okay, so... Okay, so now we go to the Activate Phase. May activate any 1.0 and 2.0 cards. May discard... If the player does not build any new cards on their turn, he receives a chippy from the supply. And then during the Activate Phase, the active player may discard one of their cards in return for a number of stable resources equal to the difference between the score and the leader's score. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Okay. So I don't have enough to be able to buy anything right now. So which means if I'm not going to be able to buy anything, then it looks like I get a chippy. Okay. That's what I get. So that was my Activate Phase. And now we move on to Cleanup. So Cleanup is active player adds all newly built cards from activating their construction card, which I didn't get to do, to their colony of cards, returning all cards to their portrait orientation, untilting activated cards. The active player then... Really? Oh my gosh. The active player then returns all unused, unstable resources back to the supply, places all remaining stable resources in his warehouse or time lock vault if he has one. Any stable resources that do not fit in the warehouse or time lock vault are returned to the supply. While the active player may choose which resources may he not discard if he has room in his... Okay. So, what we're going to do now is we're just going to put our stuff back in the warehouse. All right, so basically all I did this turn was I earned a 4 and a chippy. And that is basically my first turn. And so now we go back to the prepare phase of turn number 2, and we haven't built any cards, we haven't scored any points, we haven't done any of that wonderful stuff yet. Jason says, "Hi Jason, I'd never even heard of this game, but I'm intrigued now. Thanks for the playthrough." You are most welcome, sir. Thanks for stopping by. So, now we go, after cleanup, we go back to prepare, which is the active player will place all dice from their warehouse into their play area. Okay, so now we've got that. Now we've got a pair of 6s and 2 4s. I'm sorry, pair of 6s, a 4, and a 2. And then we will take 3 stable resources from the stable resource pool, and we're going to roll them. Okay, what do we got? I've got a 1, a 2, and a 4. So this is cool, this is interesting, because now I can take this 2, and I can, and if I, because in the solo game, you choose 1, and then you discard the other 2. So I'm taking this 2, and I'm discarding this 1 and this 4. That's what I've done. And they leave the game, they're never to come back. But now that I've got those things, now I can activate my construction card. So my construction card, oh, and I've still got my chippy, which I can choose to turn in right now. When do I turn in my chippy? If an active player has any chippies, they may exchange those for an equal number of unstable resources which he rolls along with the 3 stable resources. Oh, okay. So I actually should have done this at the start. When I rolled the 3 stable dice, I should have turned this one in and rolled... Sorry for the noises of dogs roughhousing in the background. And rolled my unstable die. Okay, my unstable is a 5. So I'm going to keep that. And that will stay with me for the duration of this turn, but at the end of this turn, I have to get rid of it. That goes back to the supply. Alright. So this is what we're working with here. We've got a pair of 6s, and a pair of 2s, and a 4 and a 5. Okay. So this is actually enough for me to be able to buy that fiber mill. So that's what I want to do because it's going to get me 1 victory point. So I'm going to go ahead and turn in the pair of 6s and the pair of 2s to buy this fiber mill. So I now am able to afford a card and add a new card to my compound, to my city, to my tableau, which is kind of cool. All right. So, that was, well, I did a construction, is what I did, right? Let me just read the construction card. The construction card allows you to build 1 card during your activate phase, which is where I was. Pay the resources indicated at the top of the card in black to the supply, then take the new card and put it under your play area with the basic side up, like so. And you may pay with any combination of stable, white, and unstable resources. You may have multiple copies of any card that may be built. And if you upgrade to a Construction 2.0 card, you'll be able to build any number of cards on a turn. So upgrading my upgrade card, my construction card rather, will allow me to build any number of cards. Let's just take a peek to see what that looks like. Any number of cards. It's an ellipsis, is how they are representing it. Okay, that's kind of cool. So I built a fiber mill, and that fiber mill is going to get me an unstable 5 every turn. So that's kind of cool. So, and I do believe I am able to activate a card. So I activated my construction this turn, and therefore I can't use it anymore. Because you can only construct 1 card per turn. But I'll be able to avail of this benefit as soon as I purchase the building. I think that is correct. Let me just check with the rules. During the activate any number of cards once per turn. Activating may be done in any order. Activated cards should be tilted slightly so you know they've been activated this turn. If the player does not build any new cards... Okay. The active player adds all newly built cards to his colony, returning all cards to their portrait orientation. The active player then returns all unused... So, Bruce says, I really wanted to like this one, but it just fell flat. So far, I'm interested enough to keep on playing. Hi, Bruce, by the way. Thanks for joining the stream. I still have an open question, and maybe anyone who knows the answer to this question can drop it in the chat. I just bought this fiber mill. I'm still in my activate phase in turn number 2. Am I able to avail of the benefit of this fiber mill in the same turn in which I purchased it? Because the rules are not telling me one way or the other that I can do that. Well, the official rules maybe not have that, but I do have this printout here from Board Game Geek, which is, I think the name of this was Plain and Simple Colony Guide. So let's see if this is simpler to understand than these rules. Well, the rules aren't bad, and as you probably have, if you've ever seen any of my posts, I am famously bad at comprehending rules. So these rules are pretty clear, but I need more help. On their turn, a player does the following phase: prepare, scavenge, activate, cleanup. So in prepare, the active player places all dice from their warehouse into their play area. And then in scavenge, the active player takes 3 stable resources and rolls them, drafts one of these to their play area, passes the 2 remaining to the left, which we're not doing because we're playing solo. And cool. Players who have full warehouses when receiving a die may either return a new die to the supply. Special rules for scavenge depend on player count. There's 2-player and then there's 4-player. If the active player has any chippies, they may exchange 1 chippy for any unstable resource up to 3 times. Cool. Phase 3, activate. The active player may activate any number of cards, including upgrading. Activations can be done in any order. Once a card has been activated, tap it to show that it has been used. The construction card can be used to build new buildings. It's the exact same text as from this rulebook. So this, I don't know how this is supposed to be clearer than the official rulebook. Okay. So I still have the open question of whether or not I'll be able to activate a card that I just purchased. I'm gonna make a judgment call right now and say that yes, I can do that. Yes, I can get an unstable 5. I don't know what I would do with it though. It's not really going to do me anything this turn. So even if I did get an unstable 5 to go with my unstable 5, oh yeah, you know what? I could do something with it. So I'm going to assume, unless somebody tells me otherwise in the chat, that this card that I just purchased is activatable, and that therefore I get an unstable 5. Cool. And the reason why that's cool is because I can put these 2 unstable dice on the supply exchange and exchange it for something. Exchange it for a stable resource of any value. That's powerful. Kat, hi Kat. Welcome to the stream. I did go live, Kat, as you requested. So if you're wondering why I'm live right now with Colony, it's because of Kat Sides, who just joined the stream. So yes. So after much deliberation and forethought, I'm going to go ahead and do that, which means I can take a stable die of any value, which will persist through the turns. So the question is, do I take a 4? Do I make this a 4 for duplicates? Is anything purchasable with a pair of 4s? There's a tweaker. There's a tweaker that is purchasable with a pair of 4s over there. A pair of 4s is also useful for black market. Or I could turn this into a sequential, like a 3, and start building toward an upgrade. Upgrading my upgrade card. How does the upgrade card work? Super quick. All cards can be upgraded to a better 2.0 version of the original. The cost to upgrade each card is a 1, 2, 3, 4, or a straight. If you upgrade the upgrade card to 2.0, the upgrade cost decreases to 2, 3, and 4. Okay, which means if I work toward an upgrade, then I could upgrade my fiber mill, which would get me a stable 5 instead of an unstable 5 each turn, and 2 victory points instead of 1 victory point. So that's a way to go. So I think I will actually make this a 3. Okay, after much talking through and deliberation, we've come to a decision. This becomes a 3, and I'll put that in my warehouse along with my 4, because we're now in the cleanup phase. The active player adds all newly built cards to their colony, returning all cards to portrait. Active player then returns all unused, unstable resources back to the supply. Cool. So I use my construction. I use my fiber mill. I untap them. I place the unstable resources back in the supply. And then I now have earned 1 victory point because I was able to build that fiber mill. So I'm going to go up to 1 victory point. Cool. Okay, so I played a couple of turns, and now I'm starting to sense that this game is actually pretty easy. It's actually very similar to Fantastic Factories. It's a lot easier than the rules make it seem. Hi, Gary. Well, thanks for joining the stream. And we are doing a playthrough of Colony. Where's the box cover? There it is. There you go. Playing some Colony, which is a tableau builder, engine builder, dice placement game. So far, you know what? 2 turns in, I'm kind of liking it. It's not bad. Okay, so we're now moving on to turn 3. So at the start of the turn for the solo game, you get 3 dice, 3 stable dice. You roll them. You choose one. I already know which one I'm going to choose here because I've got a 2 over here. Oh, and these guys have to come out of my warehouse. I've got a 2, a 3, and a 4, which is I'm going for an upgrade. I want to upgrade my fiber mill. So I'm building toward a straight. So which means I chose my 2. I chose one of the 3 dice I rolled. So these other 2 in the solo game, those leave the game. They're out. So that's a game timer in the solo version. And so now what I have to work with for my for this turn, for turn 3, is I've got a 2, a 3, and a 4 in my play area. Can I do anything with a 2, a 3, and a 4? So I'm looking at the tops of the cards. I'm looking at the costs of things. And there's nothing I can do yet with a 2, a 3, and a 4. Which I didn't expect there to be. Because I'm not looking to buy right now. I'm looking to upgrade my fiber mill. Because it's going to get me from 1 VP, it'll become 2 VP. Cool. So therefore, I'm going to put these back in my warehouse. My 2, my 3, and my 4. And I'm not going to build anything. And because I didn't build anything this turn, I get a chippy. And this chippy on my following turn is going to be good for turning it in for 1 unstable die, which can be helpful. Okay, so I got that. Cool. So that basically is turn 3, and now I'm going to move on to turn 4. So the active player will place all dice from their warehouse into their play area. 2, 3, 4. So basically, if I get a 1 this turn, then I'll be able to use my upgrade to upgrade my fiber mill. Oh, and darn it. I forgot. And yeah, that in my last turn, since I have a fiber mill, I should have remembered to activate this puppy. Yeah, I should have remembered to activate this puppy. It would have given me 1 unstable die. But it wouldn't have helped me for what I'm going for because I don't need a 5 for upgrade. So even though it was an omission on my part, it wasn't that big of a deal. Okay, so let's just, you know what, we'll put that back in the past. We're now in turn 4. And so now we're in turn 4. We've got these. We're going to grab 3 dice from the stable dice pool. We're going to roll them. And we don't have what we wanted, which sucks. Absolutely sucks. Darn it. Okay, we get a 4, a 4, and a 6. We can only choose one of them. Okay. That sucks. Really sucks. Darn it. Okay. Well, yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess I'll take the 4, which means I'm going to take this 4 and a 6 that I didn't choose. They leave the game. So I'm working toward an upgrade here. So I want a 1. I don't want to use... Okay. Also, I'm going to turn in my chippy for 1 unstable die and roll that and see what we get. I'm actually hoping for a 1, which I don't get. I get a 5, which sucks. So I've got a 5, but my fiber mill, I'll activate that and get another 5 because it gives me that. Oh, check this out. And because I've got these 2 5s, I can put them on the supply exchange, which will earn me 1 stable dice of whatever result I want, which I want a 1. There you go. Because I'm going to put that 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the upgrade card, like so, to upgrade my fiber mill to its 2.0 side. I'll keep it tapped, which now will earn me 2 victory points instead of just 1. So finally the player moves a scoring marker on the scoreboard to show the number of victory points he has at the end of the turn. So I now have 2 victory points. I'm going to move my victory point marker up by 1. So that was kind of cool because so this seems to be the core of the game. There's like wheeling and dealing and figuring out what you're able to do. Like at the start of this turn, I thought I wasn't going to be able to do anything, but then it just kind of worked out, and it was so far I'm enjoying myself, and it's not that hard, which is kind of cool. So great. And so at the end of this turn, I will send back to the supply all the dice I used to purchase, like so. I have this 1/4, which is going to go into my warehouse, and then I untap all the cards that I activated in my last turn. Cool. And then we start with our next turn. So I think this is turn 5 now. So at turn 5, any dice we have in the warehouse enter the play area. We grab 3 dice, 3 stable dice from the stable dice supply pool. We roll them, and then we choose what we're going to go with. So now we've got a 4 over here. I've got a 1, a 4, and a 6 over there. And I will now be able to generate a stable 5 because of my upgraded fiber mill. So, what do I want to go with here? If I choose that 4, I can have a 4, a 4, and a 5, which doesn't buy me anything. Tweaker is a 4 and a 4, and then a 1 and a 1. Okay. Yeah. Protein Lab is 3 4s and a 2. Okay. So I'm going to take the 4. I'm going to add that, which means this 1 and the 6 that I didn't choose, they go and leave the game, solo game. I'm going to tap my fiber mill for a 5. I now know that I have a 5. And so what can I do with a pair of 4s and a 5? Is there anything that I can do? Looking at the cards here, it's not enough to be able to buy anything yet. So this is going to be one of those turns where I probably can't buy anything. And every time you can't buy anything, you get a chippy, which is, on the following turn, good for turning in for an unstable die. So that's how this turn is going to work out. I'm going to put these guys in my warehouse, pair of 4s and a 5, and my chippy, and I'm going to untap my fiber mill. And we move on to the next turn. Next turn, release your dice from your warehouse. And I'm actually going to turn in my chippy now. Take one of my unstable dice. Take 3 stable dice. I'm going to roll all these guys. Okay, what do we got? Damn, we got a bunch of 4s. So first of all, the unstable die, I get to keep that. That's a 6. And I've got 4, 4, 5, and 6. Well, 3 4s are nice. I think, well, I've already got 2 4s over there. With 3 4s, I could be working for this protein lab. Yeah, I think I can do that. So I'm going to take the 4. I'm going to take the 4. Which means this 6 and this other 4 leave the game. Game timer. So I've got 3 4s now. And I've got a 5 and a 6. And I also have this fiber mill, which is going to give me another 5. Very cool. So now I've got a pair of 5s, which I can place on this supply exchange. Activate that because it takes pairs. And that will give me a stable die of whatever result I want. Charles says, do you have to turn in the chip or can you save it for later? You can absolutely save it for later if you don't want to use it. And you can turn in up to 3 chippies on a turn. Great question. Hi, Charles, by the way. Thanks for joining the stream. Okay, so the reason why I want to put these 2 5s over here on the supply exchange is because I want to take a stable die with the value of 2. Like so. Because a 3 4s and a 2 is just enough to be able to purchase a protein lab, which I will take. There you go. And I established earlier, just kind of, because the rules don't answer me, are you able to activate a card that you purchased this turn in the same turn? And because none of the rules references that I have are, oh, and by the way, I use my construction as well, are answering that question, then I am just going to go forge ahead with the thought that, yes, I am able to use a card that I just purchased. So I'm purchasing that. I'm using my protein lab to get an unstable 3, which probably isn't going to do much for me this turn because I've got an unstable 3 and an unstable 6. If I'm not able to use them for anything this turn, which I don't think I'll be able to, then they're going to get discarded anyway at the end of this turn. However, because we bought that protein lab, it gave us yet another victory point. So now we have 3 victory points. And we're moving on to the cleanup phase of this turn, which means all of your unstable dice that you weren't able to place anywhere, they go back to the supply. All of the dice that you use to purchase or activate cards or whatever, they go back to the stable dice supply. Cool. And then you untap all of the cards that you activated for the turn. So now I've got a protein lab that gives me an unstable 3 every turn, and I've got a fiber mill that gives me an unstable 5. A stable 5 every turn because I actually was able to upgrade this. And so now, and I've got nothing in my warehouse. So that's interesting. So now I've got to build up again to be able to start buying more stuff. So we'll take 1, 2, 3 dice. We'll roll them. And then we choose which one we want. So that's a 3, a 4, and a 6. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to I could take the 3 because this is going to give me an unstable 3, and then I could turn those into whatever I wanted. It's still not going to help me though. I could I'll just take the 4. And then therefore this 3 and the 6 that I didn't choose, they leave the game. Even if I activate this fiber mill to get me a... Well, you know, I should, because it's going to give me a stable 5. It doesn't help me for my upgrading. Back to chip. Could you have waited to play the chip after you rolled your other dice, then only used it if needed? Yes. So let's read the rules for activate, Charles. In the activate phase, which is phase 3, the player may activate any number of cards, including upgrading, which may be done once per turn. Activating may be done in any order. Activated cards should be tilted slightly so you know that they've been activated this turn. If a player does not build any new cards on the turn, he receives a chippy from the supply. Or if you've upgraded your construction card, then you get 2 chippies from the supply any turn that you don't build anything. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You don't use the chippy in the activate phase. You actually use it in the phase before, which is the scavenge phase. So let's read that. If the active player has any chippies, he may exchange those for an equal number of unstable resources, the frosted dice, which he rolls along with the 3 stable resources. The active player keeps all unstable. So if you're going to use the chippy, you should technically turn it in when you draw the 3 stable dice, so that you take the unstable and then you roll at that point. But you don't have to. You can hold it off for a future turn. I hope that answers your question. All right, so where are we at now? We've got a stable 4, a stable 5. We could, by activating the protein lab, get an unstable 3. But does a 3, 4, and 5 get us anything? It actually could. We could get a time lock vault. Yeah, so I think we'll do that. So we'll activate the protein lab, take an unstable 3, like so. And then with this 3, 4, and 5, we'll use this to purchase, to construct. So construction will also be tapped. What's called a time lock vault. So now we've added a time lock vault to our compound, because the time lock vault, you can purchase it with 3 dice of whatever result, which they certainly are, 3, 4, and a 5. And that gets us yet another victory point. So now we're at 4 VPs. So that's kind of cool. And so now we're in the cleanup phase. So all these dice go back to the supply. I actually didn't think that I was going to be able to purchase anything this turn, but it turns out I did. Yes, it did, and that means a miracle happened and you played it correctly. I know. Who knew? Who knew that I could actually play a game correctly? Because I'm famously bad at understanding rules. All right. So now we've got a total. And so another nice thing I like about the cards in this game is that they have these kind of like fluorescent orange, kind of half moons or ellipses, elliptical shapes, half circles at the bottom of each card. And so if you want to know how many victory points you have, you just count up the number of orange dots at the bottom of each card, and then just make sure that your marker on the victory track matches that. So that's kind of like how that works out. Cool. So here in the solo mode, it's a race to see how many victory points are you actually able to amass before the stable dice run out. That's pretty much the point of the game. And so, I will confess to, like, when I first read it, I'm like, oh, it's a beat your own score solo variant, but I have to say, at this point, I'm kind of liking it. I'm kind of having fun with it. So, and I'm motivated to keep on playing. So let's keep doing that. So it is now a new turn. We are going to the prepare phase, which means if we had dice in our warehouse and or our time lock vault, then we would release them from the warehouse or the time lock vault and put them in our play area. But we don't have any dice, which is kind of a good thing, I think. We don't have any dice in there because we've been using it to buy. We've been using it to make deals. And so the lesson for me here is that even if you think initially that none of your cards are going to help you, activate them anyway, because you might be able to figure a way out based on the cards you've successfully constructed in your tableau and just combinations of dice that weren't evident to you at the start of your turn. Just activate them all. You don't lose anything. Okay, so we don't have any dice in our warehouse, nothing in our time lock vault, so we're just going to pull 3 dice from the stable resource supply. We're going to roll them. We've got a 2, a 2, and a 4. So, 2s are helpful to purchase fiber. Well, I've already got a fiber mill, but you can build duplicates. GMO farm. I could use a 2 to work toward a GMO farm. So I think I'll do that. I'll take that 2, which means this other 2 and this 4 are going to leave the game. I'm going to activate my protein lab for an unstable 3. I'm going to activate my fiber mill for a stable 5. And what can any of that do us this turn? Pretty much nothing. I mean, we could buy another time lock vault with that, which would get us. Can we have more than one? We could, according to the rules, we can have more than one copy of a card. Constructing cards. The construction card allows you to build 1 card during your activate phase. Pay the resources indicated, then take the new card. You may have multiple copies of any card that may be built. If you upgrade to a construction 2, you'll be able to build any number of cards on a turn. Okay. So this is almost cheating at this point, because I could take these 3 and buy another time lock vault for another victory point. In fact, I could pretty much do that every turn now, because I know every turn, because of my fiber mill and my protein lab, I will have I can rely upon an unstable 3 and a stable 5 each turn. So I could just keep on buying time lock vaults and just keep on racking up 1 victory point per turn until I run out of stable dice. That's one way to go. It's valid. It's not cheating. It's boring. I mean, just recursively buying time lock vaults. I could do that and see how many victory points I end up with. I mean, this is my first time playing the solo mode of this game, so it's not like I have like a target score from the last time I played it that I'm going to beat. I could just keep on buying time lock vaults every turn until I'm done. Kind of workman-like strategy, not very exciting. Or I could actually build toward buying other things. Like, what can I do with my 2, my 3, and my 5 right now? Not much. But the thing with just going for the victory points, which is kind of, I mean, in this version of the solo game, that's kind of the point here. Is you're not gonna have the opportunity to stock up on like other types of cards that give you more interesting effects, right? So that's kind of a bummer. If I just go for the VPs and that's all you do. Oh, you know what? Actually, the rulebook gives you, if a player has at least 15 VPs for 4 players, 16 VPs for 3 players, or 20 VPs for 2 players at the end of his turn, they win the game. Right now I have 4. And with the number of dice that are in that unstable over there, look at you with all your fancy new tech. Thanks, man. Hi, Chad. Yeah, I've got my MacBook Pro's kind of FaceTime camera going on here. I've got a phone up there on a kind of articulating arm that's over the play area here. Got my microphone. What is this? It is a CAD U37. I don't know what that means, but got my microphone going on here. Yeah, it's kind of fun. So yeah, I'm kind of wrestling with myself now. Like, should I absolutely just go for the raw victory points? 1 victory point per turn, which is kind of deterministic, almost Euro in its like lack of surprise, or should I go for an element of uncertainty and just try to go for more things? I'm going to end up at the end of this turn with a stable 2 and a stable 5, and if I don't build anything this turn, I'll get a chippy. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose not to just go for the effective but boring strategy of just buying time lock vaults. Jack Neal has shown up. Hi, Jack. Jack Neal says, I worked on an alternate AI for it, but I never published it. Might need to dust it off. Absolutely, you should. My impressions right this second is I'm having fun with it. Even with the solo mode the way it is, kind of solid, workmanlike, but not surprising. But I'm having fun. Actually, I'm enjoying. Not enjoying. I am not regretting. What's the opposite of not regretting? my decision to try this game. And I should mention to the 5 people who are on the stream right now that apparently there is a AI bot variant on Board Game Geek for this game that you can try right now to kind of give you play against an actual bot instead of the published kind of single player game that they have in the rule book. Okay, so I think I've decided that I'm not going to just stock up on time lock vaults, that effective but boring strategy, which means I'm not going to build anything this turn, which means I'm going to get myself a chippy, and which means that I'm going to lose this unstable 3 unused at the end of my turn, but I get to warehouse this 2 and this 5. And I've got a chippy. Cool. And now I'm going to untap the cards that I did use, and then we move on to the next turn. So now I've got a 2 and a 5. They're going to come out here. I'm going to turn in my chippy. Do I want to turn in my chippy? Because at the end of this, I'm going to have 4 dice. Will I be able to do anything with that 4 dice? No, I'm going to have 6 dice. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to have 5 dice. Which could potentially be... Okay, I'm going to turn in my chippy. Get myself 1 unstable die. And now I will take 3 stable dice, roll them all, and see what we get. Okay, we've got a 4, a 5, a 1, and a 2. So that 4 unstable is definitely ours. And just to be able to see the whole picture, let's already take the guaranteed dice we're getting this round. So we're getting an unstable 3, Unstable 3. Okay. Okay. I think I know what I want to do. Because now we've got a 2, a 3, and a 4. Of those 3 that I just rolled, I'll take the 1. So now I've got a straight 1, 2, 3, 4, which I will now put on this upgrade card. And tap that, which means I get to upgrade my Protein Lab from Protein Lab 1.0 to Protein Lab 2.0, which nets me another victory point. So I now have a total of 5. I'm going to move those guys up there. Hi, Mike. Mike Delicio joined, the much revered solo guru from the Dice Tower. Mike, thanks for stopping by. We're playing a little bit of Colony. I played this 2 years ago and didn't really understand what I was doing, didn't really learn it properly. Now that I am playing the published solo mode and giving it a fair shake, I'm actually enjoying myself. I'm actually having quite a bit of fun with this sucker. So that's the update. That's what's going on right now on the live stream. Cool. So I'm sorry. I didn't. Oh, I did. Yeah, I did. Okay, I did upgrade. So which means I now have 5 VP, and I've upgraded both my Fiber Mill and my Protein Lab, and I've got this Stable 5, which I'm going to put back in the warehouse, and this 2 and this 5 that I didn't choose. They leave. And so now, in the cleanup phase, I'm going to untap all the cards that I activated. These unstable dice go back to the supply, as do the 2 stable dice that I used to pay. And so now I've got 5 VP, which is very, very far away from the 15, 16, or 20 VPs that are in the multiplayer version of the game in terms of what triggers, or what the first person to reach 20 in a 2-player game wins the game. So, but at least we've got a stable 5, and now we move on. So now next turn, we'll release the stable 5 from the warehouse. We'll take 3 stable dice. We'll roll them. It's a 4, a 4, and a 6, and a 5. Now let's activate these 2 cards already, because they're going to give us a stable 3 and a stable 5. Okay, so what can I do with 3 and 2 5s? Fabric Replicator. If I had 3 5s, which I don't, Scrap Shack is a 6 and 2 2s. I can't do that. Stockpile is a 6, a 6, a 5, and a 5. And it's got a... Is the stockpile allow you to earn more victory points if you put doubles on it? Let's read up. One of the nice things about this rulebook is that I think it very nicely explains all the cards. Stockpile. Every set of stable dice that you have at the end of your turn is worth 1 VP. The resources must fit in your warehouse or the time lock vault in order to count for your stockpile. All right. Okay. So stockpile is probably a really, really good card to buy. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to, so because to buy the stockpile, we need a 6, a 6, a pair of 6s, and a pair of 5s. So I'm going to take this 6, which means I'm going to get rid of these 2 4s. I'm not going to buy anything this turn, right? Because I'm building up, I'm saving up for my stockpile, which means I'll take a chippy. and I will place my dice in the warehouse. Oop, that was a shoot. There was a 6, a 5, and a 5, and a 3. Cool. All right. Okay, great. So now, what we're going to do is we are going to get these guys out of the warehouse, place them here. So to be able to buy that stockpile, I need one more 6 from somewhere. So I may not need that chippy. We'll see. Based on the roll. We have our 6. Boom. So we're going to take that 6, which means we'll get rid of this 1 and this 5. Leave the game. Great. So we will construct by turning in the 2 6s and the 2 5s. Okay. And we build the stockpile. And so the construction is tapped. So you can only build 1 card per turn. So now we've got a 3. But now we'll tap our fiber mill in our protein lab for another stable 3 and a 5. And because of this stockpile, you earn 1 victory point for every pair of dice you have at the end of your turn. Right? That was what it said. Every set of stable equal dice that you have at the end of your turn is worth 1 victory point. Yeah. Hi, Mike. Mike Hyman just joined us. So that's another victory point for us. So now we're up to 6. That's cool. I also wonder if the stockpile gets you a victory point for building it. I don't think so. Otherwise, I would say. I think it's a special card where it's like it's the opportunity for ongoing VPs as opposed to a one-time VP. It's not a one-time victory point bonus. Okay, so that was that. So these 2 3s go into our warehouse. This 5 will go into our warehouse. We'll untap everything that we used or that we activated this turn. We now have a total of 6 VPs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6 that we got from the stockpile last time. We didn't use our chippy. So, we move on to the next turn. So now we're going to have quite a few dice. We're also coming down to the end of the game, because once we run out of these stable dice, then that's it. So might as well turn in this chippy and get an unstable as well and roll. So that unstable is ours. That's a 3. And then, so right now, I've got 3 3s and a 5. The GMO farm would require 3 3s. And 2 2s, which I don't have, and which none of my stuff over here. What can we do? Well, let's activate these cards. This is going to give us a stable 3 and a stable 5. And those are the last 2 stable dice, by the way. Stable 3, stable 5. So we've actually got, and we still haven't chosen from over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I can do that. I'll take this last 3 for a total of 5 3s, which means these 2 1s will go away. They leave the game. It is a game timer in the solo mode. So what we're gonna do is we have 5 of a kind, which is the cost to purchase this reactivator. So I'm gonna use these 5 to go on construction. Tap the construction card, indicating that I've done my 1 construction action this turn. Build the reactivator in my tableau here, which gets me another victory point. So I'm at 7. And I will end the turn with 1 pair of 5s, which means I'll earn another victory point because of stockpile as well. So now my VPs go up to 8. Every set of stable dice that you have at the end of your turn is worth 1 VP. Okay. So that's kind of cool. And so now I will return that and these to the supply. So everything you use to purchase something or to activate something gets returned to the supply. So now I want to understand the effects of the reactivate, because it's got these weird PR, AT, EX, and TR at the top here. Reactivate 1. So what's the effect of a reactivator card? So like I said, the rules are kind of cool because they have printed all the looks of all the cards, or the images of all the cards, and they explain all of them in the base game. So reactivator is reactivate a production, attack, exchange, including your supply exchange or trade card that you've already activated this turn. May not be used on upgraded 2.0 cards. If you have multiple reactivator cards, they may target the same card for reactivation. So, oh, that's kind of cool. So I could reactivate a production, which is green, attack, which is red. I have no attack cards. Exchange, so I have an exchange card over here, or trade, which I don't have any trade cards. I think that's a trade card. That you've already activated this turn. Reactivate 1. So basically, it's a use your cards that you have that match whatever diagram is listed on the front of it. Use them more than once per turn, which is kind of cool. Yeah, doesn't really do me much good at the end of this turn though. But I'll think about that. I'll keep that in mind for succeeding turns. So, and did I already? I'm not remembering. Did I already increase my victory points for buying the reactivator card? I have a vague memory that I did. I don't want to unintentionally cheat. So I'm going to say that my 8 victory points right now. We can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this stockpile has given me 2 victory points. So it's okay. So that's right. It's actually 8. Okay. So these 2 5s go to my warehouse, and we will draw 3 stable dice from the supply. And these 2 5s come out, and we will roll these suckers. Okay, so we've got another 5, a 3, and a 3, and then I can activate my fiber mill and my protein lab, but the thing is, there's only 1 die remaining in the supply. So I got to choose which one is going to be the most advantageous for me for this. This is probably going to be my last turn. There's a 5 over there. There's a 2 over here. Oh, I'm sorry. I could get a 5 and a 3 over here. What can I do with 4 of a kind? Can I do anything interesting with 4 of a kind? Not much. If I had 5 of a kind, I could buy another reactivator. Well, I will make this a 5 anyway. And then I'm going to take this 5 over here because at the very least, if nothing else, those 2 will get me 2 victory points at the end of this turn because that's what my stockpile does. And then these leave the game. So that's probably the most advantageous use of this 4 of a kind because I could buy a time lock vault using 3 of those 4, but it's not going to do anything for me. I mean, it'll only get me 1 victory point. And I don't have enough to buy another reactivator for 5 of a kind, and it would still only get me 1 victory point. Whereas, if I end the turn with these 2 pairs of these 4 5s, then I'm going to get 2 victory points from my stockpile. So that's what I'm going to do. So my victory points now move up to 10 because of the 2 that I earned from the stockpile. Because, just making sure, once again, the stockpile is every set of stable equal numbers of dice or pairs that you have at the end of your turn is worth 1 VP. Every set. And I had 2 sets. Cool. So these 5s now all go into my warehouse. Okay. And then the solo game says, continue playing until you cannot roll 3 stable resources from the supply at the beginning of a turn. You may choose to discard stable resources from your warehouse so that you have enough of those resources to roll. So I believe that we have come to the end of the game. So at the end of the game, let me untap all this stuff. Because I no longer have any stable resources to be able to roll, which means I end this solo playthrough with 10 points. So, okay. Just very quickly, let me share with you my impressions after going through this one time. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I gave this game a chance. It's actually a lot easier to play than I thought it was, or like I obviously didn't give it enough of a fair shake 2 years ago, or maybe I did. That was the best I could do at that time. I'm a much different kind of solo player now. I'm a much different gamer now. And so I actually enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed this playthrough of Colony. And the published solo mode in the rules. And I am actually looking forward to trying the bots, or at least the one AI bot that is reportedly in Board Game Geek. And Jack Neal showed up and he dropped in the chat and he said, hey, I worked on an alternate AI for it but never published it. Might need to dust it off. So potentially we could have the potential for another bot to be able to play this game solo. But I felt fun. It was fun. And the thing about this game is that there's just so many cards. So many different variations and ways to play. So if you just look at the box, there are so many other cards that we didn't use in this playthrough because you only take 7 of the variable cards. What's that? The things that are called. So the cards along the top here are the basic cards. The cards over here are the variable cards, which we ended up buying 2 of the variable cards. We bought, 3. We bought the stockpile, we bought the time lock vault, and we bought the reactivator. So that was kind of cool. And then we bought 2 of the basic cards, and we were able to upgrade both. So we ended up, at least I ended up with a total victory point score of 10. So throw the challenge out to you. Are you able to beat my victory point score of 10? I have a sense that that's probably not going to be hard to beat. But anyway, hey, there you have it. That was my solo playthrough of Colony, the published solo rules in the rule book, and I liked it. I had a good time, and so until next time, this has been Martin. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the flip side.